Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
Instagram being 14 years old yesterday, 27 years since social media even began, with sites like 6degrees.com, which the whole idea was to try and kind of play that game, 6 degrees between any two people on the planet, including you and Kevin Bacon. Hot or Not followed that and made people very insecure. That's from 24 years ago. Friendster is 22 now. MySpace 21. Then Facebook arrived, one of the biggest ones, though bigger in the past than it is now. And LinkedIn, Photobucket, Flickr, YouTube, Nexopia, Reddit all followed in that explosion, like 2003 to 2005. And then Instagram finally shows up in 2010. Oh, I jumped over Twitter/X now. They're 18, which, is understandable why it's going through such a tumultuous time right now. I mean, we can all remember back to when we were 18, and we didn't know a thing about anything.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
Oasis tickets, North America, in some of the venues already sold out. I think most, in fact, at this point after the weekend, but on Friday for sure. Some of the spots, like in New Jersey, for instance, just completely gone. People reacting online, saying things like, I didn't get Oasis tickets, it's the worst day of my life. Or some people kind of having fun with it. Only 29,732 people ahead of me for Oasis tickets. A couple tweets that are all about it, but one of the positive things people were reacting to was the relatively normal prices that were available for the tickets, for shows in Toronto and the like. They did announce North American shows with a bunch, and then 4 more added just a little bit later because of the, of course, immediate demand, but they're pretty much all gone now. So watch out for scalpers and for fake tickets and scams is what they're saying online. Oasis, that is. Meanwhile, Beatles back again with another reissue. We're never going to be done with it. A Hard Day's Night is coming out for its 60th anniversary. That's a big deal in celebration of National Album Day a little bit later on in October. Yeah, you're not even going to have to wait that long. October 19th is when it's going to be coming out from 1964 to 2024. Huge reissue. Dolly Parton doing very good things, of course. Hurricane Helene has caused absolute devastation along the Atlantic coast, especially in the southern states, and Dolly has come out to say that just directly from her bank account, bit of a flex, she's donating $1 million to the relief effort for Hurricane Helene, which has affected Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, and many more.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
People are feeling some things about Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux. It is now officially, after the opening weekend, in the Morbius and Madam Web range of box office floppage for a superhero story. Well, supervillain, I guess. Really, there's nothing superpowered about it. He's just a villain in Todd Phillips' universe. But this is one that started, first movie, The Joker, earned Joaquin Phoenix an Oscar. It was well-liked. Not for everybody, but certainly not critically panned like the sequel has been. But I get why it's not so loved. It's a hard pill to swallow. There is a lot of great and interesting stuff in there, but not everything for everybody, and with how closely we have to keep an eye on the entertainment budget, we end up picking and choosing. We try to find the winners at the movie theater and not the ones that aren't going to be entertaining for us. But it is a bit of a mind job. I'm noticing there's a disconnect, that everyone is so tired of the oversaturation of comic book movies, and it's been decades now of it churned out so many in a year. But also, as much as we hate when stuff is rehashed and dull and more of the same, we also don't want to take any risks, and neither do the people who are bankrolling the movies. So it's tough when something does come out that does take big swings and is different. It still isn't really what people want. So it's tough. But hey, it's not like there aren't other movies to watch.
Tuesday.
The GST check that's going to be showing up later on this month. Realized it was going to be coming thanks to Sean posting on Community Cruise. I went, yes, right, it is coming. And it sparkles in your eyes until the reality of spending it on something responsible rears its ugly head. At least nowadays. I do remember getting those Ralph Klein bucks once when I was younger, and I got a tattoo with it. It's probably not going to happen this time. This check is going to be groceries instead. Side question, though, does earning stamps from groceries make them food stamps? How does that work? Here's something for the Pink Floyd fan that has everything. It's a vintage ham slicer that has been turned into a piece of art by somebody named Dennis DeFrancesco. And it's got ham on it. It's a ham slicer, specifically because, well, the ham slices are represented by copies of Pink Floyd's Animals on vinyl in pink. So, I mean, they do look ham-like. But the whole total cost $34,000. And it was all inspired by, get this, nothing to do with Pink Floyd, by the way. The slicer is called, the art piece is called Marcel D, because the guy who made it used to be a young boy going to the deli where he saw an absolutely gorgeous, as he describes it, goddess in a delicatessen. The way he describes it is very poetic. He says, I was 12 years old, she was 25, I was ready to sacrifice myself. And so thinking about this woman that he knew when he was a child, admiring from across the counter, he decided to turn this into a piece of art for $34,000 that is very Pink Floyd themed. I don't get the connection, but it's interesting.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
And the latest in the news includes, well, it's not, I wouldn't call it a feud, but maybe a little tension between The Cure and The Darkness. Now, Justin Hawkins of The Darkness says that it doesn't matter that he's heard comments from Robert Smith of The Cure saying that The Darkness is a comedy band. He still just loves The Cure. And the song, the new single that they've released alone, despite everything. That is the best way to answer back to anybody who's given you criticism if you are a fan. Just still be a fan. Who cares? Paul Simon in the news because, well, after dealing with a near total hearing loss, 6 months ago felt very pessimistic. Now he says that has turned into an optimistic stance about a potential return to live music and performance. He, in September, had said that he accepted his hearing loss, but was still in the process of trying to find out if there was any sort of treatment or technological solution to help him be able to return onto the performing stage. And sad news, as far too young 17-year-old girl, very talented, Nell Smith, has died. She previously worked with the Flaming Lips in 2021 to produce a Nick Cave covers album specifically, and was working on her debut album to release in 2025. Unfortunately, there's a shock and devastation around her death, which was, of course, extremely untimely. Safeguard yourself from scams. How do you know if that celebrity that's slipping into your DMs, that's sending you some messages, that's maybe emailing you chain mail? How do you know if they're not them? How do you know if they're real? Well, first of all, they're not. Just assume they're not. But McAfee has actually put out the 2024 Celebrity Hacker Hot List for AI online scams. Because people who are in the public eye, especially with a body of work, a lot of voice clips out there, a lot of images out there, those are kind of easier pickings for somebody that you can duplicate their voice or duplicate their face and fake some stuff, convince somebody to part with their money for scam reasons. Who are among these names? Scarlett Johansson, Taylor Swift, and Johnny Depp are among the top of the celebrities exploited for these online scams. I'm sorry, it's not Scarlett that's messaging you. I wish it was. Also, Kylie Jenner, Tom Hanks, Anya Taylor-Joy, Sabrina Carpenter now has joined the list, and Sydney Sweeney all way up there on the list. Bottom line, they're not really that interested, because it's not really them. I mean, unless it's in your money, in which case these scam artists, they're very interested. Halloween candy, I was managing to stay away. We have got a box, well, actually 2 boxes of, just 2 different varieties. One has all the Smarties in it that weren't, I try to give them out, but they're probably going to be the ones that get left behind most. So that's why the second box, right? That's the self-justification. Need to fill in the gap where those Smarties are. And also, just want of having more candy and more variety. But was left unopened, thinking it would actually make it a little further into the month. Not quite even at the 15th yet. Last night I broke. And it wasn't even a conscious, wrapping my fingers, staring at the box, going, okay, just leave him. You got to make him No, I just did it unconsciously. I just walked right up to the box, opened it up, grabbed some out, started snacking on candy, and then thought to myself, wait, it's for the children.
Wednesday.
Have you ever seen a building implosion that came along with fireworks and a drone show? It happened this morning in Vegas, specifically. Good thing nobody sleeps on the Strip, because they set off explosions at 3:30 in the morning, local time. Some 2,200 pounds of explosives. The Tropicana Las Vegas resort was the site of this implosion, owned by Bally's. And I guess they closed in April of this year. The demolition only took 7 minutes, though. And a lot of that was, because of the celebration. The actual demolition, really only a few seconds. The rest of it, it's all the fireworks and the drone show. Of course, they got to do it Vegas style. Surprised they didn't get some fountains shooting water and everything. But 550 drones, 150 pyro drones, and a ton of different fireworks that were involved. There's a video as well. Of course, you get to enjoy the video. And we got it linked for you up on our social media. Check out Community Cruise on Facebook. We're at 105 Cruz FM over on Twitter X. But the last time, it was 2016 in Las Vegas when there was an implosion, when a resort, a hotel, a casino was destroyed. The Riviera was the one. This time around, though, the Tropicana was actually a pretty famous one on the Strip, though aging at this point. It was featured in major movies. We're talking movies like The Godfather. We're talking James Bond, Diamonds Are Forever, where it was the site of scenes like this.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
They had no shame with the Bond names, the girl names back in the day. But if you want to check out the video, we got it linked for you. Hoping the dust settles before people actually do start waking up with their hangovers. It is John Lennon's 84th birthday, or what would have been, and a project that was actually announced by his son Sean Ono Lennon earlier in the year is coming to fruition. It's called a meditation mix of all the 1973 versions of Mind Games, a song that, of course, is a little bit older now, but was one from a very unique time in the history of not just John Lennon, but of course the Beatles and their trajectory. This is available digitally today, but also a 3 LP physical edition will be available on Friday. Pre-order links are out. Don't know how much stock is available still. A new memoir has come out from Lisa Marie Presley, of course, talking about the time that she spent with Michael Jackson. And one note that is getting a lot of attention, seems to be the headline clickbait, is that she claims he was still a virgin at 35 when they were dating, saying that she was terrified. They got married, of course, in 1994. And, of course, there's going to be more to the story within the memoir posthumously released, called From Here to the Great Unknown. And a band we don't get to hear all that often on the air, Limp Bizkit, has got some beef with Universal Music. They are suing them for $200 million over unpaid royalties, saying that until recently, the band had never received any royalties, not a cent, and claims that hundreds of other artists have also had their royalties wrongfully withheld for years. You ever hear of pants that go hiking for you? Well, what's the point of that? Well, obviously, the point isn't for somebody who wants to go hiking and can go hiking. I think they can just go hiking. Why would they need this? But I think it's for somebody who would struggle on a hike. But the price might just be an equal amount of struggle at about $5,000. These are a real thing. They're from Arc'teryx. They feature an exoskeletal frame and claim to boost leg power by 40%. A select number of these, I guess prototypes, MoveWear is what they're calling it. MoveWear pants are available to rent and try. Maybe niche market for those who would want that kind of thing, but could be something that's an absolute game changer for somebody who does. I just hope that they're a little bit more polished than the trouser bench.
For the man on the go who makes frequent stops. Will somebody please call all the ambulances?
Thursday.
Cookie Monster's in some trouble. This is so ridiculous. He was caught behind the wheel of a speeding Audi in Germany this week. The photo is absolutely amazing. Let's hope he drives better than he eats. A lot of cookies bits on the floor when he gets into it. Police remain unamused. They say the car was about 16 kilometers over the speed limit, and the mask visibility makes it a dangerous stunt. I don't disagree, but I am very amused. That's the difference. The photo is incredible, and if you want to see it, we got it posted up on the blogs at cruzradio.com. And I get it. I get why he had a felted lead foot on the gas pedal. He had somewhere to be, and he just got through translating. Can you tell me how to get to Sesamstrasse? I had to look up the translation. Thank Google if I was not correct. Of course, Oasis has been in the news so much since announcing their reunion that nobody saw coming, and of course the live tour that is going to be taking place in 2025 around the world, including some Canadian dates as well, though limited. Liam Gallagher has jumped on social media responding to fans saying that no, they're not going to be doing interviews as a pair, the brothers Gallagher. They don't want to do joint interviews because they are scared of the media asking us intrusive questions and trying to pick holes in our relationship. Honestly, it's probably pretty smart. Get to the finish line, all right? There's already pools out there to say, when is the breakup going to happen? Before the tour, during the tour, after the tour? Hopefully. Not at all. Hopefully. We'll see, though. Gene Simmons in the news after not so great appearance on Dancing with the Stars as a guest judge. Showed up for an episode, and a lot of the comments had nothing to do with dancing talent and more just the shape of the female contestants, and a lot of people reacting online saying things like big, creepy uncle vibes to all the women on the show. Don't know if he'll be asked back anytime soon. And the daughter of Travis Barker. She's 18 years old. Her name is Alabama, and she's gone out on a social media video to spread the word about how she's not educated enough to vote, how she doesn't have to vote, and adding on, I could educate myself, but why would I do that if I genuinely don't care? I'm just honest. Sounds like Travis raised a winner. Honestly, probably for the best that she's not participating in the democratic process.
Dude soap, Viking horns, and bulk fart spray. What does the algorithm think Steve wants today?
Well, I can tell you the latest thing that has been just covering my timeline, particularly last night, I couldn't escape it. It is videos of all of the different kinds of screw anchors and how they work. They'll like set up a piece of lumber, a 2x4, but with like a plastic guard so you can kind of see the holes and see the action at work. Sleeve anchors, threaded anchors, winged anchors, plastic anchors, metal anchors, polymer anchors, self-drilling zip anchors, hollow wall anchors, drop-in anchors, strap toggle drywall bolts, lag screw shields, molly bolts, concrete screws, sleeve anchors, and more. I think I said sleeve anchors already. There's a lot more than I even realized. And they don't all work the same. In fact, pretty much all of them seem to just not work all that well. What are the best ones? I wish I had an answer. I mean, I'm watching these videos to the end, and I'm not even learning anything.
Friday.
I am blown away by the latest rollout from Green Day and their Dookie. Well, I mean, they've got the remastered format to commemorate the fact that it has been so many years, 30 of them, specifically since that came out in 1994. But in addition to the remaster, they're also releasing demastered versions of the album and basically putting them on the most inconvenient mediums possible. Sounding like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. Here's what the album Dookie is going to be available on, besides the usual digital download, CDs, cassettes, vinyl records, all that. It's also going to be available on a Billy Bass talking fish on the wall, a Teddy Ruxpin doll, with the moving mouth and everything, a 3.15-inch floppy disk that no one has the drive for on their computer anymore, a electronic toothbrush, a Game Boy cartridge. These are the actual versions of the album that are going to be available. Very limited supply, of course, and I imagine they're going to show up on eBay as soon as they're bought.
Thanks for listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
Got a few stories to get into. Duran Duran has just released a new album. Well, really, it's the deluxe version of the Spooky album that they put out last year. Dance Macabre, and it features some covers, some original works that have been revamped, and instrumentals as well, and the bonus tracks that have been added to what was released last year. Here's just a taste of what was on the brand new single released today with the album, a cover of Evil Woman. Kicked up the disco angle on this song. I feel like this could easily make it onto Halloween party playlists really fast. As well, they're going to be embarking on a Halloween tour in the very near future. Dream Theater is back in the news because they're going to be putting out a new album. It's been a while since they've made one, and definitely a long time since they made one with their returning drummer, Mike Portnoy. He hasn't been with the band making material since 2009, but they've got a new album called Parasomnia on the way, and even released a new track to celebrate called Night Terror. And Oasis have got a new announcement, physical edition of all kinds of singles to commemorate the release of the single Cigarettes and Alcohol, which is from Definitely Maybe, 30th anniversary and all that. But they've got a collection of the singles that comes in a cigarette box style case that's going to be available as of October 18th, next Friday.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, okay. Well, I'll just fire right into it because you already know what's going on and we already got the details from you. What 2 months were added to the Roman 10-month calendar to make 12?
January and February.
Oh! Yes. You're correct, sir. So, kind of thought you might go with the July and August, like the ones named after the Caesars themselves. But no, it was January and February that were added, and that makes 12, which is why September, October, November, December don't actually match up for the number that's in the name of them. But that's really not the number you want to hear, isn't it? It's $425 you've just won.
God, I'm smart.
Nailed it today. Maybe extra Thanksgiving feast is in your future or something with that kind of money.
Oh, yeah.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.